this year in 2023, back in August, there was a big celebration right here at the church. There were lots of people who came, and people were outside. It was kind of hot, but it was outside, and here's what was going on. Sammy and Jen were having their gender reveal party. So Jen had a baby in her belly. They didn't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and so they invited all of their friends. And everybody came around. It was a great celebration, and it was just to find out what's the gender. Is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? And leading up to that moment, when we came in, they had games about, is it a boy? Is it a girl? People were guessing. There was all kinds of excitement that was taking place. And so I want to show you this video of capturing that moment. But here's what I want you to notice. Pay attention to just three things specifically. Number one, pay attention to the excitement that's in the air. Okay? In fact, there's one moment when you're going to hear Jen say, "I'm so nervous." Right? It's fabulous, and there's just such excitement. And then pay attention to the second thing. You are going to see a message in the sky. There's a message in the sky. Now, when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there's great excitement. There's a message in the sky. And then the third thing I want you to notice is once it all happens, the response of everyone. How joy-filled everyone is. Are you ready to watch it? Are we good on audio? Did you get it? It was a girl. And there's Jen with joy in the back. What a joy. So here's what happened. Everybody paying attention here. This is big stuff. Okay? There was great celebration. There's an excitement, an anticipation. It was mixed with fear. Jen said, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. You see that moment when Sammy just holds his hands up. He's like, oh, man, here we go. They're wanting to make sure they stop. Does everybody have their cameras? Everybody's ready? Sammy's like, are we going to do this in Spanish or in English? They wanted everything to be great because there was excitement and just the moment of anticipation. And then finally, boom, there's a sign in the sky. The sign is, it's a girl. It's a girl. And it was clear. Nobody was confused after that moment. Now, were all things explained? What's this girl going to be like? When is she going to be born? What hospital is it? Was all of that detailed? No, it was just, it's a girl. And what was the crowd's response? Hopefully better than that. Oh, man. What was the crowd's response? Oh, it was a celebration. Immediately, there was this, woo, this is great excitement. Joy in the beginning, an anticipation of the glory of the moment, a sign that is clear in the sky, a message that was undeniably clear, and then a celebration that followed. Now you might be wondering, John, what does this have to do with Christmas? Well, a lot more than what you may think. You see, in that moment, on that night, when Jesus was born, there were shepherds in the field nearby. Let me just read this for you. I included the Spanish translation underneath as well. And in the same region, there were shepherds out in the field keeping watch over their flock by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. Wow. And they were filled with great fear. And the angel of the Lord said to them, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel, a multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those with whom he is pleased." When the angels went away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, let us go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us. And they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And when they saw it, they made known the saying that had been told them concerning this child. And all who heard it wondered at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured up all these things, pondering them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen as it had been told them. The shepherds receive this message. 3 things that happen. And here's the question, kind of that terrible, horrible, no good, very bad moment is this. Why would shepherds ever leave their sheep? You see, shepherds never leave their sheep. In fact, that's why they are called shepherds. Their very name is taken off of what they do. You see, the sheep are kind of part of their identity. The sheep are their livelihood. It's their work. It's their understanding of this is what life is about. To step away from that, listen, in the middle of the night, because the nighttime is when the scariest things happen to sheep. Shepherds never leave their sheep, and especially at night. What would cause shepherds to leave their sheep? And let me just ask us this morning, because this is kind of where we're heading. What would cause us to leave the things that we so deeply, deeply love? Those things that we find our identity in. Those things that maybe we say, this gives me purpose. What would cause us to step away from that? Well, for the shepherds, it was the same thing that we just saw in the story of Sammy and Jen. A glory that surrounded them, a message that was undeniably clear, and a celebration that confirmed it. 3 things that would cause shepherds to leave their sheep. And I might say that to us this morning, 3 things that should cause us to separate from the things in life that we find our greatest purpose and identity in, to move toward Jesus. 3 things. A glory that surrounds us, a message that's undeniably clear, and then a celebration by others that confirms it. Let's take a look at each one of these very quickly and individually. A glory that surrounds. You know, sometimes when I think of the story with the shepherds, the thing I think is that moment when all of the angels appear and it's like, whoa, they're just overwhelmed by this whole host of angels. And that's not how it goes. What's the first thing that happens to the angels? Or that happens to the shepherds? An angel of the Lord appears. One angel of the Lord appears. And what happens around them? What surrounds them? It's the glory of the Lord. The glory of the Lord surrounds the shepherds, and the angel of the Lord is there. And it says the shepherds were afraid. There was this glory mixed with fear. This glorious moment, oh my, what on earth is taking place right now? And at the same time going, I don't know what this is going to mean. Kind of like Jen. In that moment, I'm nervous. Well, you're just finding out the gender of the child. But there is a glory about that moment. There's an excitement about that moment and a fear. Remember that part? When Sammy just holds his hands up? This hasn't even been known yet. There's just glory in that moment. I wonder how much more for the shepherds, just absolute glory, where they're like, what is taking place? I can't hardly stand it. I can't hardly wait. But yet I'm so nervous. I'm so full of fear of what this will mean. Is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? Sammy and Jen were wondering. Are there twins? I mean, they knew that by that point. But if you didn't, could you imagine if there were like 3, like boom, 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 like, oh, we're having triplets, right? That's when fear really sets in. No, but it's this glory that takes place. And it surrounds them. Don't miss that, friends, because if we don't have that surrounding glory of God, that moment where you're like, God, you're here. And it actually causes me to tremble a little bit. If we don't have that, then nothing is going to draw us away from the other things in life that we find our greatest purpose in. This is what I'm all about. Second is a message that's clear. It's a message that's clear. The angel of the Lord said this, in the city of David, a child is born, Messiah. And where is he at? You will find him laying in a manger, wrapped in swaddling clothes. Now, is that clear? Yeah, that's pretty clear. And I think, and I do wonder, if maybe that might be part of the reason why God had baby Jesus, his son, born in a manger. Because here's the truth, my friends. That separated Jesus from all other babies in Bethlehem. If they just said, hey, the Messiah has been born, go find him, they would have to go from house to house. Like every baby kind of looks the same. I don't know if you know this, but when babies are born, almost every newborn baby, you're like, yep, looks like a newborn baby. Right? They all kind of look the same. But this one was separate than anyone else. They didn't have to go looking from house to house. They needed to go looking from barn to barn. They're looking for a baby lying in a manger, wrapped in swaddling clothes, and it is my guess that there is probably only one of them in Bethlehem. And so when they found that child, they knew. The message was clear. Now, let me explain this. Clarity is not certainty. To have clarity about something is different than to have certainty about something. Right? The shepherds had a clear direction, but they weren't certain which barn, which manger, which child, what part of Bethlehem. The details were left out, but the message was clear. I remember Pastor Timothy Keller. Tim Keller was just a great Christian author, pastor, just a great thinker. He was incredibly smart. But I remember one time he was doing an interview and he said this, when people are like, well, how can you know for certain that Jesus is true and that Christianity is real? And his answer really shocked me at first. And he said, I'm not completely certain, but there is enough clarity to make a good, wise choice. And he said, people want to know from me all the time, well, what happens when you die? And why does this happen? And why does that happen? He said, honestly, you can't be certain on every single thing, but you can be clear enough to make a choice. One guy I was reading that writes on leadership said, too many of us are not making decisions because we feel that we're not certain enough of the answer. We're waiting for certainty, which means you know the end result before you start. And he said, you can't make decisions based off of certainty, but you make decisions based off of clarity. Clarity opens up the door for the next step to be taken. Listen, when the angel gave the shepherds their message, not everything was detailed. And there was not real certainty. In fact, you can hear in their response, let's go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us. That's not certainty. That's just clarity. Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing. What exactly is taking place, I don't know. And can I say right now, friends, this Christmas, you may be facing some things that you don't have certainty about. And you're stalling on making decisions because you're waiting for the certainty of the final answer. And that's not always walking by faith. What is the clarity that God has given? And walk in that. Let's go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us. And finally, then, there is a celebration that confirms. There's a crowd of others. For this, because God has come from heaven, he gets a heavenly crowd. Right? He gets a heavenly host of angels that join together as soon as the message has been made clear, right? It's a girl. And everybody immediately celebrates. Yes! There's such excitement. And in the same way, as soon as the angel of the Lord announces, here it is in the city of David, in that town, the Messiah has been born, Christ the Messiah. You'll find him in a manger, wrapped up in swaddling clothes. Immediately, the host of heaven celebrates. It's a boy! Glory to God in the highest, and peace upon all those on whom his favor rests. There's just such great celebration. You know, these are 3 points that I actually challenge people when they feel that that God is leading them to do something. And I begin with this. Number 1, is there a sense of the glory of God around you? And does that mingle with fear? What he's asking you to do, does it cause your knees to shake a little bit? When you think of it, you're like, I could never do that. I actually want to hear that from people. When they're like, oh boy, I feel a little nervous about this. Great. That means that you're not going to try to do it on your own. There's a glory mixed with fear. And then I ask them, is the message that you're hearing, is it clear? Right? That's different than details. It's not certain, but is it clear? Because somebody will be like, I want to go tell everybody about Jesus. Okay, that doesn't seem overly clear. Okay, is there a place where he's calling you? Clarify, what is it that God is telling you to do? If it feels super general, then maybe that's not God just yet. And then finally, third, is there a celebration of others that are confirming it? If it's just you hearing it, you're like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I'm good at it. But no one else is celebrating and confirming what you're hearing, then that's a big piece of it. What you want to hear, what we want to hear, is when we have that sense, God's calling me to do something, I'm trembling, but the message is clear, and other people come around and go, yes, you were made for this. This is what you should be doing. That's the kind of confirmation. When those 3 things take place, I would let somebody know. You may have very well a good call of God to do whatever it is that he's telling you to do here. But this is the big thing, friends. The shepherds, they came back changed. Didn't they? They went, they saw what the angel had told them, they shared what the angel had told them, and then they came back, and it says they returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen as it had been told them. Here's the thing I want to share with you. In the beginning of the story, the shepherds thought that they were the shepherds until they met the good shepherd. When you think that you're the one controlling the big aspects of your life, when you've got all the other things you say, no, this is my identity, this is my purpose, this is what I'm all about, but it's not Jesus. Can I encourage you this Christmas? It's time to step away from the sheep and go to the true shepherd. When you do, listen, this is what happens. You come back to the sheep changed, better than you were before. For parents, if your children are your sheep and they're your identity and your purpose, can I tell you, you need to step away from that. Meet Jesus. Let him fill you so you can come back and be the better parent to the sheep. If work is your sheep, step away, go to the shepherd, and then come back and be better at what you're doing. What is it where you find your purpose, your passion, your identity? If it's anything other than Jesus, you need to go to him. Let him fill you. Let him change you so that you can come back and bring glory and honor to him. Sheep are not a bad thing. The sheep of our lives are not bad things. they only become bad when they're keeping us from Jesus. When the sheep become our true identifying point, then we're no longer relating to the shepherd as we should. This Christmas, run to Jesus. Realize that God sent his Son for you. The things we have in this world, they're nice. That's fine. But don't let them be your purpose. Don't let your education be your purpose. Don't let boyfriends, girlfriends be your purpose. Don't let your spouse be your purpose. Don't let your kids be your purpose. Your job or money or retirement. Let Jesus be your singular shepherd.